guys, my name is Lily and today I want to build myself another power box. And this small box here is something that I built a couple of years ago, and I have to say I'm really satisfied with it. It's working great. So on top here you can see a couple of switches, and then here I have a temperature monitor, I have a battery monitor, and then I have a 12-volt socket, and also I got USB sockets. And then at the side here I have this flashlight, and that's really handy if you're walking through the forest, for example. So I've used this small battery box to go camping in the forest, and it really has served me well. So I really like this small box, and today I thought I want to build myself the same box but with double the capacity. So for the battery I was using the EcoWorthy lithium iron phosphate battery, and I think that's really awesome. I think they have great quality, and so far I have been satisfied. I've never had any bad experiences with EcoWorthy, so I figured that, yeah, I built a new power station also with EcoWorthy batteries, but this time I'm going to use two 30 amp hour batteries. So 30 amp hour batteries are great, that's really awesome, but they are too small to power a refrigerator. If you want to power a refrigerator, you have to get this battery. So that's the bigger version of the EcoWorthy, which has 100 amp hours times 12.8 volts equals 1280 watt hours. And here it's saying that you can also connect with Bluetooth to this battery. Also, this battery has a BMS system, which is going to cut off any charging if the temperature goes down to -7 degrees Celsius. So it has a low temperature protection. In general, the lifespan of this battery is 10 years. Then also very important about this battery that it can have a continuous discharging current of 100 amps. So with this you can easily power one, maybe two fridges, and also you can charge it with 100 amps, and that's a lot of power. So here you can see the Bluetooth connection in the app of EcoWorthy, and here you can see the volts of the battery and also the percent. So basically this is a battery monitor, but also you can look at many other data, interesting information. You can also get warnings on your app here. So yeah, that's the EcoWorthy 100 amp hour battery. It's an awesome battery, but right now I don't need it for my project because it's too big for my small suitcase. But maybe I'm going to build another, power station again with this battery. We will see. So anyway, now let's continue with my project. Alright, so now let's go and cut a couple of holes into the case. And I want to build it exactly the same as this battery box, but I don't think here at the big box I'm going to install a flashlight, so I'm not going to do that. Also, placement wise, I think it's best to have the battery down here, but upside down, because then the cables can run up here with no problem. Otherwise, if you turn it around like this, then there would be too much cable hanging in here, and maybe it will get trapped inside of this, inside of the lid, and that would be damaging the cables. Also, both of the cases have this automatic pressure release. So this is a vent. In case there's too much pressure inside of the box, then the air and pressure can go outside with this vent here. how to install the outlet, and it's also easy to install. I just have to drill it out. Okay guys, so I've installed most of the switches and outlets. So this battery switch here can handle 200 amps, which is more than enough for the two 30 amp hour batteries. And here's the outlet, which has turned out really nice. So I already connected the red cable to the switch here, and then the other side is going to connect to one of the batteries. Also here on top I have now a 12 volt socket. I have two USB outlets with 2.4 amps, and also I got this really fancy outlet with 3 amps. And I have to say I like this one better than the one that I have here, because the one that I have here works with a touch button. And I've used this device many times to recharge my batteries or phones, but sometimes it happens when I plug in the cable that I'm accidentally touching the button here, and then I don't realize it, and then my device is not recharging. So this is actually not convenient. So now I got this socket here, which has a proper button that you can hear and feel if you are switching it off accidentally. So yeah, this is one socket that I want to install here. Or maybe I'm going to install it instead of this one, and then I have a second one which also has this USB-C outlet. So I think I'm going to go for these two and remove this old one here. Okay, here I got a piece of wood, and I actually gonna need that as a space holder for the batteries. Okay, next I'm going to use these Velcro stickers to attach to the batteries. This way they are mounted safely inside of the box, but still you could pry them off with the Velcro. Okay, now I need to charge both batteries to 100%, and for this I have the small eco-worthy charger, and with this I recharge all of my LiFePro 4 batteries. Okay, this one is full, this one is almost full. So my intention is to use this 300 watts inverter together with my power station, and 300 watts divided by 12 equals 25 amps. So I need at least cables that can deal with 25 amps. Here this cable is 10 gauge, for example, and 10 gauge can actually handle 30 amps. So my wire is thick enough that it can handle the load. Also, I'm going to connect the batteries with a 6 square millimeter cable, which is even slightly thicker than this one here, and that can handle slightly more than 30 amps. So with the cable size I'm fine if I'm using 300 watts, and this is enough for me. So with this I can power my television and the PlayStation, or I can power my laptop, for example. Okay, so now I'm done charging both of the batteries. They have 14.4 volts, and also the charging device of eco-worthy has the same connection, so I can attach it to the outlet here. So in future, when I have wired everything up, I can recharge the battery pack using the plug here from the outside. So I don't have to mess around anymore with opening up the case and with using the clamps here. So that's really, really awesome. Alright, so now I'm going to connect the batteries in parallel. And for this I've made myself a 6 square millimeter cable, and I hammer crimped the lugs on. Alright, so I've connected this wire into parallel with both of the batteries, but now also I need to take this wire and connect it to the switch. Okay, I just did a calculation on how many watts we are drawing with the sockets here. So typically one 12-volt socket is rated to 120 watts, 12 volts at 10 amps. But we have 2 more sockets, so here in the middle the USB-C outlet can give us up to 90 watts. And then we have 4 USB outlets with 3 amps times 5 volts. So altogether we have 270 watts. So 270 watts divided by 12 volts is 22.5 amps. So now I've prepared this red cable with an inline fuse, and I'm using 25 amps as a fuse. And now I'm going to attach this cable to the positive terminal of the battery and to the first switch. Okay, next I want to add a fuse box right here. Alright, so now I'm going to attach a positive cable to the positive terminal of the switch, and I'm going to attach it to the first terminal here on the fuse box. Then I'm going to create a bridge on the side to connect all of the terminals, and it's going to look like this one here. And then at the right side I will just connect to each of the sockets. Now the thermometer is such a small load, so I'm not going to fuse it, and I'm just going to attach it to one of the sockets. Okay guys, I just had to came up with a hillbilly solution for the bridge, because actually I could not fit 2 of the 4mm cables inside of this connector. So now I've used a crimp connection by using one of these. And now I have 4 cables that I'm going to attach to here. Okay, I'm done with the positive wiring. And this is really just a hillbilly solution, so I'm not happy with this. And I've decided to order a Wago clamp like this one here. But this one only has 3 terminals, so I have to order a 4-terminal Wago clamp. And then I have a safe and secure and professional connection. So yeah, this is how it is when you're building something like this. You realize that you're missing parts while you're building the project. And also I'm going to order a 30 amps bolt-on fuse for this section here. Alrighty, so now I've covered up all of the terminals except for this one here, and this is where I'm going to install the shunt now. And then I'm going to connect all of the negative loads to this screw here, to this stud. So I'm going to take the one from the power outlet, but also I'm going to make a wire to the negative of the switch, which connects to all of the sockets. And also there need to be a couple of wires going to the shunt here. Alrighty, so I've just wired up the shunt, and now I'm going to cover it with electrical tape so I don't create any short, and I'm going to mount it here on the back side. Okay, so now I have wired up the shunt, and also I've covered it in electrical tape, and I'm going to attach it to this terminal rather than this one, because logistically this one is better. Okay guys, I cannot believe it, but I wired up everything. I wired up the shunt, then I have connected all of the negatives to the sockets and to the switch, and the shunt is stuck in here very conveniently, so it doesn't move a lot, so I can leave it like this. And now let's see if any wires get jammed, but I don't think so. So everything is closing correctly. Okay. Woo! Everything seems to work fine. So the sockets are on, and I can switch them off separately. And also the battery monitor is working. However, it's also working when the switch is off. Okay, so now I'm going to separate this cable from the positive lead of the battery and install it after the switch. I've corrected the mistake, and I have attached this cable now to after the switch. So now let's see if everything is working. Everything is off. Let's switch the box on. On. Nice. So now I can switch off the USB sockets, switch them on. So that's a really neat feature. On the old box, I had to install a separate button to switch off the USB outlets. And if you're adding more buttons, then the entire system becomes more complicated. Look at the mess here, and then look at this. I think this looks much more neat than the old box that I built. Right. So yeah, really awesome. And the shunt is working apparently, but now let's try it out. Okay, so now let's attach the inverter. Let's plug it in. Okay, now let's switch on the power switch. And let's switch on the inverter. Nice. Okay, so now let's check it. We have 9 watts of power, which is drawn by the inverter on itself. And now let's attach a load. Okay, I've just attached this charging device to the other battery. And now I want to charge it with this power box. Let's switch on the inverter. It's charging with 5.5 amps. So the inverter is working, that's nice. Let's switch it off. Now I want to find out if I can charge the batteries via the outlet. Of course, I need to switch on the battery switch. Okay, so we got a connection. And now let's connect to AC power. So now we are charging again with 5.5 amps. Okay, so everything is looking fine from the inside. And this is the outside. I think, yeah, I'm really in love with my new power box or power station. I think that's really awesome. And now I also can use the inverter up to 300 watts. So that's really cool. That's what I really like. Also, I think the size is perfect. So I have 2 batteries now, but still it doesn't weigh too much. So I can still easily carry it around into the forest to do some camping. All right, yeah, so this is it, guys. This is my new power station. I have to say, I really love it and I'm proud of myself, of this build. Also, I would like to thank the company EcoWorthy for sponsoring this video. All right, so if you want to get these batteries, make sure that you follow the link in the description below, where I will link the website of EcoWorthy and maybe also some Amazon links. Okay, so this is it, guys. Thank you for watching and stay tuned till next time.